Address that.
Nice to meet you. Yes, likewise.
Nice to meet you, Saul.
Nice to meet you. Pleasure. Too much. Nice to meet you. Yes, everybody's been great. It's very fun.
So that's good. Everybody's safe.
Yes.
You guys safe.
Yeah.
My dad retired from this a whole bunch of years ago.
Fantastic. Excellent.
We're going to have to start over. This might sound a lot better. Good evening, everyone. We would like to sorry about that. That's a and a microphone. So good evening, everyone. We would like to call to order our regular commission meeting, Tuesday, May 13th, 2025, 6:02 p.m. Roll call, please, City Clerk.
Mayor Barry.
Present.
Vice Mayor Snell. Commissioner McCutcheon. Present. Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Waters.
Here. At this time, I'm going to ask if our Commissioner McCutcheon will lead us in invocation. Followed by the invocation, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we do come with a heart of gratitude for this day that you have made. We come together today to take care of the affairs of the city of Fort Meade. We thank you for our leadership. We thank you for his staff and all the employees. And we ask and invite you into this meeting tonight. I pray that all things will be done in decency and in order as your word commands. And Father, whatever decisions are made here tonight, we, oh Lord God, will move forward in that wish of the people. We give you glory, we give you honor and praise for all things. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner McCutcheon, for the invocation. At this point, we will move on to item D, additions and or deletions.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move to add, I apologize, to add, I did it right. My apologies. Item 1, remove item J01 ordinance 2025-10. That is to remove that item and to add item E-01 proclamation proclaiming May 4th through the 10th, 2025 as Municipal Clerks Week.
So we have a motion as stated. I second.
And we have a proper second. Any questions? If not,
I would like to add one
go ahead.
thing. Great motion, fine, we'll make note to the record that, our city clerk, Melissa Perry, is coming up on her 20th year. As soon as the city of Fort Meade, and got recognition from the clerks. And I think it need to be on the record.
Okay, I got a question. So the proclamation is not here? Okay, all right. All right. So, moving forward, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Which brings us to the proclamation.
We promise it's coming back.
Okay. That'll give me time to remove item J1. From my packet.
And it's my apologies. We both looked at each other and we left it on the desk. So neither one of us grabbed it.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so the proclamation reads as follows. City of Fort Meade, Florida, Polk County, Municipal Clerks Week, May 4th through the 10th, 2025. Whereas the office of the municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of the municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, whereas the municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, whereas the municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meeting of their state, province, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the municipal clerk. Now therefore, I, Samuel Berrien, Mayor of the City of Fort Meade, do recognize the week of May 4th through the 10th as Municipal Clerks Week, and I further extend appreciation to our municipal clerk, Melissa Cannon, and to all municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. Dedicated this 13th day of May, 2025, Mayor Samuel Berrien. So if you could come up and I can give you this. And I also want to acknowledge that the City of Fort Meade did a nice tribute to Melissa on our Fort Meade Facebook page, correct? At this time, we are going to move on to item F, which is public forum. Each person addressing the commission shall sign in with the city clerk, no later than 6:05 p.m. The person shall step up to the microphone, shall give his or her name and address in an audible tone For the record, and unless further time is granted by the commission, shall limit their address to 3 minutes. All remarks shall be addressed to the commission as a body and not to any member thereof. No person other than the members of the commission having the floor shall be permitted to enter into discussion either directly or through the members of the commission. At this time, do we have any registered speakers?
Nobody signed up to speak.
Are there anybody here that wish to address the commission? No? If not, we will go ahead and close the public forum.
That's the first in a long time.
Moving on to item G, approvals of the minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the minutes of our April 8th, 2025 regular commission meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a proper second to approve the minutes as stated. Any further discussion? If none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. None, motion carries. Moving on to item I, resolutions, I-1, City Attorney.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Meade, Florida, authorizing the mayor, vice mayor, or interim city manager to execute a federally funded subaward and grant agreement with the Florida Division of Emergency Management for Hurricane Milton DR 4834 relief funds, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Just for background, the city has been offered this subaward grant agreement, again, from the Florida Division of Emergency Management for financial assistance and recovery associated with this hurricane. This agreement requires an authorized signature from a city official to execute. So we do not know that exact dollar amount at this time, but it is something that we will find out later. And it will be determined based upon the eligible expenses incurred by the city during the response and recovery operations. Staff recommends approval of Resolution R 2025-49, authorizing the mayor or interim city manager to execute the agreement with Florida Division of Emergency Management for Hurricane Milton relief funds. Staff stands for any questions.
This is tied to the FEMA money. And I'm sure that we're gonna still will be going on for a time to get our money.
Could we have you pull the microphone down so we can speak into the mic for the record, please?
Yes, we have submitted some initial reimbursements, and the process usually takes about 2 years.
She is not incorrect. It does take a long time, and in this case, we're trying to expedite that by working through the state, because the state is actually going to provide kind of a front load for some of these dollars. That way we don't have to wait for FEMA. We'll be able to put those dollars back in our coffers so that we can continue to operate during the storm season. So, very important. Yes, sir.
All right, are there any further questions?
None.
If not, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 2025-49, authorizing the mayor or interim city manager to execute the federally funded subaward and grant agreement number 25301 with the Florida Division of Emergency Management for Hurricane Milton DR 4834 relief funds, and to execute any subsequent modifications or amendments that do not substantially change the terms of the agreement.
Second.
So we have a motion and a proper second to move to approve execution of this federally funded subaward grant and agreement. Any questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. None. Motion carries. Moving on to Resolution 02.
Resolution number 2025-50, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Meade, Florida, appointing one new member to the Planning and Zoning Board to replace member Vincent Duarte. Forgive me if I said that wrong.
That's correct.
Providing for findings, providing for an effective date.
Yes, and following the ordinance and process, the resolution regarding the appointment of planning and zoning board members. Mayor Barry, and this is your appointment, so I yield the floor for you to make that appointment as needed.
So, thank you for that. I don't know what happened with my first selection. As I attempted to, make all my selections based on individuals who could give substantial and critical information to that particular board. With my new selection, I communicated with several individuals in the city to see their level of commitment. And then one particularly rose to the top as he's been in this community, born and raised here, homegrown, has an electrical background as an electrician, and has worked and served in various capacities in the city, and that is none other than Rupert Russell. And we would like Rupert to come to the podium. So as we stated, the capacity in which we're asking you to serve is to provide recommendations and advise the commission on various items that impact the planning and zoning.
Okay.
And are you willing to?
Yes, sir.
All right. So as stated, I'm nominating Rupert Russell for consideration.
I told you a long time ago to get you back here.
Yes, sir.
If any questions for Rupert? None? I'll entertain a motion. I think we need to do we need to first have a vote to remove Mr. Duarte? Okay, just to place him. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve Resolution R2025-50 to remove Mr. Vincent Duarte from the Planning and Zoning Board and replace him with newly appointed member, Mr. Rupert Russell.
We have a proper motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion?
None.
None. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign? None. Motion carries. Thank you for committing to serving the city. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Moving right along to item I3.
Resolution number R 2025-53, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Meade authorizing the execution of Amendment Number 1 to the CDBG-CV grant agreement number D0528 between the Florida Department of Commerce and the City of Fort Meade to extend the period of the agreement and revise the scope of deliverables, providing for authorization and providing for an effective date.
For background, the City Commission, we approved this agreement in March of 2024 for the Streetscape and Rural Infrastructure Improvement Project. And there were subsequent project delays and cost escalations. And so you ended up reallocating $1 million from the CDBG-CV grant in February of this year to cover the additional cost of that scope and to accommodate that inflation. And so what you have today is a modification to the agreement between the Department of Commerce and the city in order to extend the project deadline to now go out and execute and get this done. So that extension will go from May 31st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. And staff recommends approval of this resolution, R 2025-53, approving this amendment between the Department of Commerce and the City of Fort Meade. And then staff stands for any questions.
I do. So with requesting this extension, what particularly is delaying the part to where we could have work done?
The project was not done And so the project has now been out to bid, now it closes on the 20th.
Excuse me 1 second. You guys hear her okay? Okay. All right.
Someone said, don't speak too loudly or something like that. Or too closely.
That's fine.
So at this point, we are about to embark on selecting our contractor.
Okay.
So that should happen at the next, at the June 10th board meeting,
Okay. All right.
city commission meeting.
So we're moving right along now.
We are.
Good. Good deal. Any further questions? No. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve Resolution R 2025-53, approving amendment number 1 to the CDBG-CR agreement number D0528 between the Department of Commerce and the City of Fort Meade for the Streetscape and Rural Infrastructure Improvement Project.
We have a proper motion. Do we have a second? A second. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve Resolution R 2025-53. Any further discussion? No. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. None, motion carries. So now we are going directly to item K, which are all public hearings. K1. This is the second and final reading ordinance. 2025-05, text amendment for off-street parking. Yes, sir. Did I go to the right one?
Technical difficulties. It's not serious. Ordinance 2025-05, the ordinance of the City of Fort Meade, Florida, amending the City of Fort Meade Unified Land Development Code, amending section 3.03.04, design standards for off-street parking and loading areas, and adding section 3.03.05, adjustments to access and parking standards, providing for repeal of inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
So will we have a representative from CFRPC? Yeah, not this evening. Okay. We won't, this is a second reading, so, it's retired. Yes, sir. Okay. So is there anyone in the public that would like to speak to off-street parking and the changing of this ordinance? If there are not any that wish to address the commission on this item, we will close the public forum on this item and move to a motion. Let's go ahead and move that we approve ordinance for second final reading of 2025-05. First amendment for off-street parking.
Second.
We have a motion and a proper second to adopt ordinance 2025-05, amending the Land Development Code, amending section 3.03.04, and adding section 3.03.05. regarding parking requirements on the second and final reading. If no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign? None, motion carries. And at this time, we're going to move on to item 02.
The first reading of ordinance 2025-08, an ordinance of the city of Fort Meade, Florida, amending the future land use map of the city of Fort Meade, Florida, specifically amending 3 parcels of land comprising of upwards of 26.70 acres on the property located in the northwest quadrant of the city, west of US Highway 98, Fort Meade, Florida, parcel identification number 253116, followed by 6 consecutive zeros, 022, 010, and parcel identification number 253117, followed by 6 consecutive zeros, 022, 010, and parcel number 25-31-16, followed by 6 consecutive zeros, 012, 060, from the future land use of the city unassigned to industrial, transmitting said amendment to Florida Commerce for finding of compliance, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, so at this time, we're going to open this up to public forum. Anyone wishing to speak at this time? I'm sorry. Sorry.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
I wasn't here for the other case. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the commission. I'm Stephanie Von Pulaski-Bush with the Central Florida Regional Planning Council. And as your attorney mentioned, so tonight we actually have there's 2 cases that are going together. The first one is the future land use amendment, and the second one is a PUD. So on the next slide. So the applicant is Boulder Partners, and the property owner is Florida Eco Park. And the request is to change the future land use on 3 parcels, and then to change the zoning on 8 parcels. So the future land use map change is on 26 acres, and the rezoning will be on 1,163 acres. And as you heard, the property is, you probably know where it is, it's in the northwest quadrant of the city, west of 17. And the purpose is to update the future land use and zoning maps to support a data center. So on the next slide, so what happened here is when all this property was annexed several years ago, most of it received a future land use of industrial, as you can see the gray area there. There was several parcels that were left out on the side, the south side. And in this case, it's the little slivers, the little rectangular slivers, and then that sliver, right? And so that equals about 26 acres. So that's part of this ownership, so that would be changed.
This is part of the Ecogen.
Yeah.
That's when we made all those changes then at that time.
Right, except I guess those 3, exactly. And then, so on the next slide, so the zoning on all of it is unassigned, so that never was assigned any sort of zoning. And the next slide shows those 3 pieces I mentioned that are proposed to go to industrial, and then the next slide is the 1,163 acres to go to planned unit development, all the pinky purple area.
The 63 acres, 6 acres, they include the 26.
Right, exactly. It's a total of 8 parcels. So in the next few slides, I have some findings of facts. So this request is for a small-scale future land use amendment on the 26 acres. And then in addition, the applicant is requesting a zone change to PUD on 1,163 acres. And the proposed use is for a 4,400,000 square foot data center facility. And that includes the data center operation buildings, electrical power substations, communication and utility facilities, and other pertinent structures like guardhouses and maybe some like security buildings or whatever else they need to build there. And so on the next slide. So the subject site, as you probably all know, was previously mined for phosphate, and all the surrounding area was also mined.
There is a CSX railway line that runs north-south on the eastern edge of the property. And the access to the site is proposed from US 17 and it will require traversing the CSX railway. So the applicant is in discussions with CSX about that.
We use that with the valve.
Yeah, the applicant's here so they can answer questions when I'm done. Well, if they haven't wanted to. But, so when we analyze these types of requests, we do look at the requirements for plan unit developments and the requirements in the comprehensive plan. And we look at things like the suitability of the area for type and pattern of proposed development in relation to the surrounding area, and then concurrency and other requirements. And so, as I've mentioned, the property is located on previously mined land, and also the land surrounding the property has also been mined. The city does have adequate water and sewer for the employees at this point, but the lines need to be extended at the applicant's expense. And the transportation network is operating at an acceptable level of service. And on the next slide. So we also look at conformance with the comprehensive plan. So the industrial future land use designation is compatible with the proposed PUD. There's compatibility with surrounding land uses. So everything's been mined, and so that's all compatible. And then we look at other things that may be appropriate. So we do have 27 conditions attached to this PUD that I will get to at the end of this presentation. And then, of course, they have to meet all of the land development code regulations and the comprehensive plan. So then we also look at the consistency with the comprehensive plan. So it's consistent with the industrial future land use assignment, and it's compatible with surrounding land use, and the availability and impact on public facilities, since it is a substantial distance, so it limits the offsite impacts. Okay. You look like you had a question.
I'll get to it.
Okay. All right. And then on the next slide, this slide, sorry, move it on this one. So city water and sewer capacity. So as I mentioned, the city does say, Tony said that the city has available water and sewer capacity for the employees, except the lines aren't there. The reuse water may be available for coolant, but the applicant is in discussions with the city about that still, and that will be worked out. A traffic study has been submitted. The estimated trip generation right now is 4,356 trips, but an additional traffic analysis is going to be required at time of development approval. So the next slide is kind of hard to read, but it shows so that you can see the outline of the site, and then the giant square in the middle is would be a power substation. As you might know, data centers use a lot of power, and so they're building their own substation. And then those four other rectangles are the actual buildings, the 4,400,000 square feet. And then the access is that little piece right there. Yeah, that's where they'll access floor 17. And then the next slide, so again, as I mentioned, there are 27 conditions, and I have shortened them for this presentation, so they're all in detail in your packets. But basically, so all development and the plan unit development shall be established in substantial conformance with the approved master plan. The development of the PD area shall be limited to the primary and accessory buildings and structures to serve the data center. Development within the PD area shall be in accordance with the city's land use intensity standards. All setbacks must be met. And then electrical power, this last one is kind of important. So electrical power shall be provided in coordination with the city of Fort Meade for electrical power generation greater than the agreed upon baseline electrical power A power generation facility serving the data center may be a permitted use within the PUD project area. A power generation facility would constitute a major amendment to the approved PUD, and as such, the proposal would require public hearings before the city's Planning and Zoning Board and the City Commission for approval. So my slide turned right away, but
On this point here,
Yes.
the extra generation, if it's with the, generation unit in place, it's just excess power. Would it take over all power?
so, is that I don't know.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think,
I'm sorry, I did not hear the question. So we were trying to help you on the PowerPoint side. The question, Commissioner?
The generation plant
Yes, sir.
on site would be for additional power over the base load,
So,
but it would not take over all of it, correct?
so there have been discussions preliminarily about the amount of power that would be generated for that project. So the base load for the project, the discussion has been 1 gigawatt. And anything above that would be potentially up to 1.5 would be generated on site. So, those are nuances that we would have to work out with the provider, with Duke, and also with the user through a development agreement. We also need to adjust the rates and agree to those rates. So a lot more discussion.
That'd be,
Yes, sir.
it's not the only means of drawing revenue off this project. See that?
That is correct.
But it is a chunk.
It is a huge chunk, and I think that the city wants to make sure that it gets the best deal as it relates to negotiating that fee with Duke in relationship to the power costs that will be passed through by Duke to that client.
I did want Duke take it over everything out there.
We don't either, sir. We do not either.
Let me ask another question. Well, I got it. And, do you have any proposed any changes, any changes at all? Well, we're not, if the project for some reason fails to go through, will we still go to do, what, or will it remain the same?
so we had this discussion last night at the Planning and Zoning meeting. So the PUD would, if this project doesn't happen, the PUD does go away.
Okay.
And then, so the next potential user, yeah, right, because this PUD is tied to the master development plan and all these conditions and everything that's in the staff report.
I still like having control of what else might want to come in there.
Right, and so if this doesn't, then they'll have to start over again, and then
Okay.
with the conditions and everything else. It's all good. Okay, so the project can be developed in phases, and the development of the project area shall be connected to Fort Meade's water and sewer lines. The applicant shall enter into a development agreement with the city for the extension of all required infrastructure improvements, including water and wastewater utility extensions. All utility facilities, including electrical power and telecommunication facilities serving the PUD project, shall be constructed underground. Any off-site improvements required to serve the PUD shall be coordinated with the city. All development activity within the PUD project area shall meet the standards of and be in compliance with the city's wetland protection requirements. And then on the next slide, keeps going. Prior to development approval, the applicant shall provide documentation of site reclamation, including land stability for development. Stormwater management systems shall be owned and managed and maintained by the property owner in accordance with SWIFMUD and other regulating agencies. Access to the site is proposed across private property owned by the CSX Railway Corporation. Written approval acknowledging the use and crossing of said property shall be obtained from CSX. Coordination with the Florida Department of Transportation shall be required at time of development review. The city reserves the right to require the submittal of additional traffic studies at the time of development review. Security fencing shall be required. And where any gated access is established, a Knox box access system shall be provided. All solid waste collection shall be accommodated through the use of dumpsters. Accessible to the city's refuse collector. A landscape plan is required per section 3.07. All development must adhere to the regulations of Article 4 in the Land Development Code regarding signage. And then, on the next slide, almost done. A detailed lighting plan shall be provided. And then the applicant did do an environmental study. No threatened or endangered species were found or identified at the time, but there is potential habitat for several species. Deviations from the approved master plan shall require review from established in section 7.0408I of the city's land development code. A site plan shall be required in accordance with Article 7 of the Land Development Code, and all other development design improvement standards required in accordance with the city's comp plan and land development code and any other applicable codes and requirements, including but not limited to stormwater management system, detailed landscaping and buffering plans, disposition of all right-of-way, common areas, and easements shall be established at the time of development review. So I apologize for that being so long, but we just wanted to get those into the record. And like I said, in detail in your packet. So, as I said, so there's two different items that we are voting on. The first one is the future land use amendment, and then the second one is the rezoning. So I can answer questions, and as I said, the applicant is here also to answer questions or.
So we still need to vote on the 2508 and 09?
Yes.
So at this
Just for clarity, because I apologize, I know that she talked about both of the ordinances in one PowerPoint, so I think that was just for efficiency and for time, but we will go back to making sure we clear out the first one that's on the agenda, number 2, before we do the rule.
It's that's correct.
Yes, and at this time, does anyone from Boulder Places would like to speak on it? Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, speak for the second one. We'll save you for the second one. Okay, so at this time, is there anyone who would like to address the commission regarding this item K02?
I will.
I'm Fred Boone, and during the ECO, Fred Boone, 202 North Fort Meade, Florida. I do remember this. When we were doing this project, those two parcels got left out because Mr. Hackle owned all that, and the line was just put up where the top was, and we did not include those two little parcels below that. But it was that's our error, not included.
Well, I thought that was all you about that time.
Yeah, and because the project didn't proceed, we didn't go back and mess with it.
Thanks, Rick.
Anyone else? And at this time, we will close public forum on item 02. Any further discussion?
I have none.
I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move that we approve the first reading of 2025-08, future land use map amendment, and set the second reading at our next regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a proper second to approve ordinance 2025-08, approving on its first reading and set the second reading for June 10th, 2025. If no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. None. Motion carries. And then we will move on to item 03, K03.
Ordinance number 2025-09, an ordinance of the city of Fort Meade, Florida, amending the official zoning map of the city of Fort Meade, Florida, specifically amending 8 parcels and land comprising of more than 1,163.67 acres on property located in the northwest portion of the city, west of US Highway 98, Fort Meade, Florida. Parcel identification numbers 25-31-08, followed by 6 consecutive zeros, 021, 010. Parcel identification number 25-31-08, followed by 6 consecutive zeros, -022, 010. Parcel identification number 25-31-09, followed by 6 consecutive zeros, -024, 010. Parcel identification number 25-31-16, followed by 6 consecutive zeros, 012040. Parcel identification number 25-31-16, followed by 6 consecutive zeros, -012060. Parcel identification number 253116, followed by 6 consecutive zeros, 022010. Parcel identification number 25-31-17, followed by 6 consecutive zeros, -011020. And parcel identification number 25-31-17, followed by 6 consecutive zeros, -022-010, from the zoning of city unassigned to industrial planned unit development.
Okay. Could you read that again?
So at this time, we will invite up the representative from Boulder.
All right, good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Christopher Smith. I'm Managing Director of Development at Stonebridge. We are the developer behind the proposed data center master campus here in Fort Meade. Boiler is also with me. Mike Navarro at Boiler. They're still engineering the project. They filed the applications.
Would you like to come up to it?
Well, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to share this exciting project with you all, which we believe will bring real lasting value to the city of Fort Meade in the form of quality jobs, transformative growth in tax base, and revenue to the city, and responsible long-term development. Stonebridge is a privately held real estate investment and development firm focused on delivering a wide range of first-class developments. We focus on creating projects that enhance their communities, and we bring decades of experience in land development, data infrastructure, and public-private collaboration. Fort Meade offers a unique combination of advantages which are attractive for digital infrastructure development. Its central location in Florida provides geographic stability and logistical efficiency with access to key utility and transportation infrastructure that's currently existing. Most notably, from a data center standpoint, Fort Meade is situated relatively close to Miami, which is one of the largest international fiber landing points in the country, particularly for South America and transatlantic data routes. The city can also serve the major markets of both Tampa and Orlando due to its strategic location. That proximity here in Fort Meade makes it a strategic site for data infrastructure that demands low latency secure connectivity to these major metropolitan hubs, both locally in the state, regionally, in the southeast, and internationally. The project is proposed to be built on land that was formerly used for mining activities. By repurposing a previously disturbed site, the project will bring new economic life to an area that has already served the region's industrial economy. Rather than developing a greenfield land, we're pursuing a responsible reuse strategy, transforming the former extraction site the next generation digital infrastructure campus and a stable long-term economic asset for the city. The campus we are proposing will bring lasting benefits to the city. It will create an estimated 4,000 well-paying jobs during the construction phase over approximately 5 years, and over 400 long-term jobs during the operational phases. Positions that range from skilled trades to high-tech and functional roles within the data center facility. In addition, the project will generate substantial new tax revenue with minimal demand on city services, estimated to be over $130 million at full build-out. This is in addition to any indirect jobs or alternative revenue streams that we already mentioned previously, which may arise as part of this new development. Unlike other types of development, data centers place little burden on schools and other public infrastructure and make a very light traffic. They produce very little traffic, making them a highly efficient source of net long-term municipal revenue. A successful data center campus in Fort Meade can help position the city to attract targeted digital infrastructure investment over time, from cloud computing and edge services to broader applications that support a more modern economy. This is about more than just this one facility. It's about creating responsible opportunities that align with Fort Meade's long-term goals. In addition, we are designing a data center of the future, employing decades of experience that will result in a sustainable project for Fort Meade, Polk County, and the state. We look forward to working with the county, with the mayor, and city commissioners, and our city manager, and all local stakeholders as we move this project forward. And we thank you for your time and consideration tonight, and welcome the opportunity to address any questions you may have on this transformative development.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions?
I think the gentleman with him might want to state his name, and share it also, and then they can decide who wants to answer questions.
Well, depending on the question. I'm an engineer with Baylor. We're the site civil on the project, Robert Morgado, 1900 Corporate Boulevard, Boca Raton. We're managing the obviously civil design, landscape architecture, potentially survey, hopefully sooner than the project, and we'll be handling the South Florida Water Management District permitting, Southwest Florida, any FDOT permitting. We're used to dealing with them, so. Any utility extension, utility design, roadway design, that'll be us, so. Looking forward to it.
How many employees are we looking at?
So there'll be essentially two phases of employees coming in and out. Correct. So during the construction phase, which we anticipate to take about 5 years to fully build out the facility, there are multiple buildings within this complex. We're estimating about 4,000 temporary construction jobs on the property. And then as the project stabilizes and the buildings start to ramp up and hire their operations staff, we estimate about 400 long-term employees at the data center.
Do you anticipate being able to use local help, or do you have a construction crews that bounce from site to site, build this here, you do it there, or do you use local contractors?
Yeah, so we will not build the data centers ourselves. We will hire a general contractor to come in and use that facility for us. They will pull talent from all across the state and the region.
They have to get it.
Correct.
Okay. Design. What type of traffic in and out do you propose for your egress of the 17?
We obviously have to get in discussions with FCOT. We have a pre-app meeting with them later this week, but we're expecting a deceleration lane. We're expecting with the traffic signal. So we'll have to go through discussions with them on exactly what that looks like, but that's what we're expecting.
Is there, and I should know that, we served that road a number of times. Is there crossover like the proximity that you have proposed egress there?
Yeah, so the proposed access, if you wouldn't mind, could you put up the site plan for me? Thank you.
Oh, on this slide?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So we call it the little tail piece, but it's the piece on the east side, right? So that aligns with the intersection where the car dealership is, right on the other side of the street. So there's a road going to the east, but we would be extending that road to the west.
So there is an opening in the general proximity.
Correct. There's an opening.
You need a total enclosure for meeting those modifications.
Correct. Right. I mean,
That would descend itself.
as Robert said, we still have to have conversations with FDOT. We have preliminary traffic reports and counts that were submitted as part of our application. But those are ongoing conversations with what improvements have to happen to that intersection.
Then we're gonna have heavy truck traffic during construction phase. One time you just employing car vehicles after you go full time.
Yes, will be predominance of the traffic. Will be normal employees coming in and out. Occasional trucks, things like maintenance vans and those types of things.
All right, thank you. I'm doing something.
Any questions?
I don't have any questions, Mr. Stonebridge. I'm Commissioner McCutcheon. But thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for your presentation. You covered a vast number of topics and answered a lot of questions in the presentation. So I don't have any specific questions But I definitely am looking forward and hoping that further discussions down the road that you do choose Fort Meade as your site, because we welcome you. We welcome you to our city in advance. I'm going to just leave and say that we welcome you in advance, and it's exciting for us. I've been looking forward to job postings. I might apply. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But again, thank you for the presentation, and hopefully we look forward to you staking in the ground here in our town.
Thank you.
What I would like to add is, but I also echo that we definitely welcome opportunities like this. I work closely with schools, high schools, and local schools, and we have an initiative to further embed technology initiatives into the school system. And so we currently have what we call academies, and we're looking to bridge opportunities for these students to be able to attain a level of certification so that from high school they are able to go directly into the workforce in that chosen field.
Yes.
And so any initiatives or anything like that will be greatly welcomed as well.
Understood. Yes, we have partners that we have worked with on other projects who've set up similar types of job trainings in high schools and community colleges and things of that nature. A project this scale, there's plenty of opportunities to implement those types of programs. And from an employer standpoint, I mean, having local expertise that they can feed up into the data center is very attractive. So it's definitely something that's we're considering, and we'll be working with the users and the operators inside the data centers to help kind of create this digital infrastructure system that supports the use.
Awesome.
One more thing. Bad cop, good cops. I also like to thank you all for looking at our city and look forward to doing business with you. That bring it.
Yes, sir. So why did you say bad cop, good cop?
Well, I will. And y'all still will.
We welcome the opportunities.
There we go. There's so lots of detail that we can work together.
Thanks. Well, I work for DOT and I always have questions.
Okay, good deal. At this time, we want to open this up. Thank you for your time. We're going to open this up, and we will come up and come up to the podium, please. State your name and address.
George O'Kane.
I thought I recognized you, Mr. O'Kane.
I live at 503 Hancock Cemetery Road, Fort Meade, Florida. I work for the Hackle family who inherited all of this property we're talking about tonight. I'm the caretaker out there. And my question is, what happens if and when you don't get permission to cross the railroad track? Yeah. And that's come up before. That's why I brought up. Yeah, and so, doesn't go through. What's plan B if you can't go across the railroad track at 17? Well, I know I dealt with the CSX project, several projects. Yeah, that's come up before. It could be a project.
Yeah. Mr. Drumgold, would you like to address that? Yes, I mean, I can speak to it. I think that the project team may want to speak to that as well. Okay. I can say just kind of outright that DOT and CSX, they've been, thank you, Mr. O'Kane, they've been very willing to partner and to work with this client and with the Stonebridge team. So I think that, sometimes when the money walks in the room, people listen. I hate to say it in that way. And this is a project that would generate, just for Fort Meade, some $130 million annually. And so these gentlemen have come into Fort Meade from their space to grace us with this economic analysis. And so it is embedded in the report as well. So, again, when the money comes in the room, folks listen. And I think that this team has demonstrated the capacity, the history of being successful with these types of projects. And so CSX is ready to rock and ready to listen. Yeah. If I touch
that's why I asked earlier if you had reached 30 communications with CSX.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Drummer. That was Yeah, no, we have started the application process with CSX. There was a formal prescribed process to get a new crossing over top of the railroad tracks. The off-preferred crossing is where we have it shown on the plans. We'll generate some traffic, right? Employees coming in and out, and we feel it's best to keep that kind of north of the city off the highway. It's a much easier, side access point. We also control, it's not part of the PUD, but there is a piece of property that runs south from the property. It runs along the railroad tracks. That does eventually connect with Broadway as it comes out of town. So there is an alternative way to get to the site. It would be a very long road going up north from Broadway, but there is a conceivable plan B should CSX or FDOT not allow the crossing.
So you do have a wild card somewhere.
We do have, yes, there is a plan, many different plans, yes, but that's plan B for right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Is there anyone else from the community that would like to address the commission regarding this item?
How much, if any, will the city employees be involved in the application of this project?
The staff will be very involved. The staff actually has to work with this team to negotiate the development agreement in order to bring it back to commission for approval. So all the little details of structuring the business deal, working through the energy usage, the timelines for delivery, staff will be very, very closely tied to all of that. So.
And while being involved in the application, and will be working for the city and not for the...
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So your city staff will be working in conjunction with that team, but all the legal agreements and legal documentation on the development agreements will need to be reviewed and approved by our city attorney, and then they also would need to be reviewed and approved by the city commission.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
If no one else, we will close the public forum and I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve ordinance 2025-09, approving the zoning map amendment first reading and second reading for our next reading to be scheduled meeting of June 10th, 2025.
Second.
We have a proper motion and second to approve ordinance 2025-09, zoning map amendment on its first reading and set the second reading for June 10th, 2025. If no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And aye. Any opposed, like sign? None. Motion carries. At this time, we will move on to item M, new business.
Resolution number 2025-51, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Meade, Florida, approving an agreement with Zambellan Fireworks Manufacturing Company for the 2025 fireworks display in an amount not to exceed $25,000, authorizing execution by the mayor and providing for an effective date.
Just for background on this item, this contract with Zambelli is parallel to others that have come before you. So staff, this was not in your budget for the year. There was an intent to actually find a donor to cover this expense. Unfortunately, that did not occur, and with the timing fastly approaching for July 4th, wanted to be able to continue this tradition for the community. And so we ended up finding the money associated with this expense, and then you'll see a budget amendment come back later to rectify it, but this is that opportunity for us to do that. So this fiscal impact is $25,000, and this would be in the legislative fund once we move it. This is specifically for this item here. So staff recommends that approval for our 2025-01 51, authorizing this contract with Zambelli Fireworks for $25,000 for the 4th of July fireworks, and in the event of inclement weather, providing for an effective date.
Do have a question. Was there a alternative date set in case something happened and it did not take place on the 4th?
So I don't know that we actually agreed to the, is it
We
like?
left it blank for the commission to decide.
Microphone. That's okay.
We left it blank for the commission to decide. Before we have, put the date for the date of the Christmas parade in December, the second Saturday, but we just left it blank so the commission make that decision.
Does that decision need to be made tonight?
It does, we have to send it back to them. Or, in 1 year we did, we just postponed it to the following year on 4th of July.
Okay. Any thoughts on that?
You represent an alternate date?
Alternate date.
Rains?
In case, yeah.
Oh, well, I would just recommend that if Zambelli is in agreement with it, that if, because of inclement weather, that we postpone it to the following year.
Okay. Commissioner Watts? Commissioner Watts?
Might be a little too much trying to squeeze into Christmas time. And everything else going on. I'm going to wishes of it.
Okay. All right, so with the motion, we can add that date.
All right, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution R2025-51, approving a contract with Zambelli Fireworks Manufacturing for $25,000 for the 4th of July fireworks show, and add the postponement date of
July 4th, 2026.
July 4th, 2026.
So we have a motion?
Question.
Go ahead.
Last week we worked in such a way to offer them the following year to the next year, or if they had time, they will use their product. If they could suggest a time to be considered.
My only response to that would be if they're responsible for their product. So if someone else needs that product, then they would be responsible for having that product ready for us at the date we go into the contract with.
Right, moving back and forth.
Okay, fine with me. Okay. So we have a proper motion. Do we have a second?
Yes, second.
All right, so we have a proper motion and a second to approve resolution R2025-51, approving a contract with Zambelli Fireworks Manufacturing Company for $25,000 for the 4th of July fireworks show, and the postponement date of July 4th, 2026. If no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign? None. Motion carries. Okay, so now that brings us to the report of the mayor. I do have some stuff here, so bear with me. First, I would like to welcome our new sergeant here. We would like to give you a few moments to introduce yourself to the community.
Thank you, Mayor. My name's Tim Lynch. I'm with the Polk County Sheriff's Office, and then with them for 15 years. I started my law enforcement career 20 years ago at the city of Mulberry, when I was the last ranking officer there when we had the merger with the sheriff's office. So the first 5 years of my career were working in the city, so I am familiar with the dynamics and the meetings, commission meetings and stuff like that. So I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to be here to help serve the public here in Fort Meade. I did have the opportunity to work here on several occasions as a detective and as a supervisor, so I am somewhat familiar with the area, and I plan on being out in the community quite often, making contact with all of you, learning, what your concerns are, and just kind of learning the area. And, I'm very approachable, so if anybody has any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me, and we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Fort Meade's Veterans of Foreign Wars Memorial Day observance will be May 26, 2025. And so I want to, on behalf of the VFW, extend the opportunity to welcome you guys to participate in that observance. They will have their national VFW commander, Brian Duffy, will be there to speak. The VFW also have a day of service in which they will have a community cleanup. The VFW will head that up, and it will be at the Peace River Park. So VFW got some really nice things going on, and on behalf of the VFW, I want to invite you guys out to that observance. And that will take place at their location. I don't see an address, but the VFW across the railroad track, all right? All right, so that's the VFW invite. Also on 4th of July, we still have some time, but I just want to put it out there that we have a cornhole tournament that will be taking place on 4th of July. Cornhole tournament, the first time something of that capacity taking place. We will also have a golf cart parade that will take place on that day, so be on the lookout. Go to the various places to register, decorate your golf cart. Also, there is a Mr. and Mrs. Firecracker. Little Mr. and Miss Firecracker will be taking place also on that day. And so I think I'm forgetting one other thing. Oh, the best one. There is a bake-off also on that day, which is get out your best cakes and your best pies and enter into the contest. So we got a lot of things planned, and as you guys just witnessed me approve, we're gonna finish that night up with an awesome firework display. It never disappoints. So that's what we got going on in the city on 4th of July. So please come out and enjoy yourself. It will be a lot of fun that day. One thing I did not mention, but we had not had that conversation, and please forgive me for not doing it. Usually, the cannons did a fishing contest. Last year was the first year that the city assisted them with sponsoring the fishing contest. And so, the thing that I should have been talking about with you guys, we didn't discuss it, but if that is something that we can also do on that day, that would be great. And did I omit anything with that? No? The next thing I want to mention is we have embarked upon planning the celebration for the city of Fort Meade being the oldest city in Fort Meade. 175 years in Polk County. I'm sorry, in Polk County. Thank you for that clarification. And so we've embarked upon that journey. And so I want to turn to my colleagues. We're at the place to now we have to have money to do so. And in asking other potential sponsors or anything like that to get on board with making sure that we have the funding for something of this capacity, we wanted to make sure that the city of Fort Meade was also a part of that and leads the way in doing so. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, the potential dates are October 11th and November 1st. Those are the potential dates for this. I will say this. We've had our state representatives They're eager to participate. As we've journeyed to Tallahassee, we've been talking about the 175th and touting that. What we're trying to do is put Fort Meade back in its rightful place and the rightful light that it should be shined upon. Fort Meade has a lot of history, and so we're looking to focus on that for the celebration, the historical factor of Fort Meade, but as well as the people of Fort Meade. It's the theme will be My Home, My Story, and we're going to highlight local folks talking about what Fort Meade means to them. And so we would love for the city of Fort Meade to take ownership and helping to sponsor this event. Any questions or?
That's it? That's it for you?
Yeah, that's it. So that's it. However, I would like to get some type of direction as to sponsorship. And again, this will be in a budgeted item. So this will be nothing that we have to go and find additional money for. This will be something that will take place. Budget amendments. Correct. So.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, I concur. I think the city should, in preparing our budget for the next fiscal year, give this great consideration. I don't know what the proper amount would be. I don't know what scale, celebration.
I have no idea what we're thinking about. You know,
I don't know what the scale of the.
Without going into detail.
She was talking, that was disrespectful.
I'm sorry.
I was attempting to say, I don't know what the scale, size of the event you all are planning or would like to see happen. Is it going to be an event over a couple of days or just a one-day event? And if the committee already has discussed what your budget is, that would definitely help me as a commission come up with a number that, of course, wouldn't bankrupt the city or the CRA or anything like that. It would help us to be able to say, yes, this is something that we can do, or this is the amount that the city is allowed to sponsor. Or if the committee already has like a sponsors page of different amounts, you know, or what a sponsored individual might obtain or get. So if they're on a silver level, a gold level, a platinum level, what those amounts are, I think that would help us gauge moving forward for the fiscal year next year.
Okay. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but we have set that in motion.
Okay, great. So,
And so, would you by chance know those amounts? I think some of the discussion pardon me, because I think some of this is, been discussed amongst the steering committee, and so at some point, this will be opened up to a general committee to guide the direction with the collaboration of the steering committee. But those numbers are 25,000, 10,000, 500. I think we said 2,500 were the others. But of course, there can be any number of other smaller $1,000, $500 contributions. So just looking at those overarching sponsorships, that's what those numbers are lining up to be.
great. Well, I definitely do believe, this is my opinion, that as the budget we're looking at for next year, that the city should lead the charge and be top tier with our level of sponsorship at the 25. If that's the maximum, 25,000 it is. That's just my opinion. I think that's a great landing point for us.
Commissioner Rouse?
what date did you say the first date might be? October 11th
11th, which is a Saturday.
and November
Saturday.
20th. And these are 26.
These are 25.
I'm thinking 4 times. Okay.
And both those are Saturdays. Saturday, thank you. Any questions regarding Any discussion with
Be a part of it. Right now, I have no idea about the amounts. I know I have to remember what's the plan. What is it for? You know,
Yes, and I agree with that. So the point to where the steering committee is at is we want to be able to get this set in stone so we know how to proceed with other additional sponsors. So if you don't feel comfortable with 25, then I would like to hear what you would feel comfortable with. But let me address some of the questions that Commissioner McCutcheon had. So there is a one-day event. However, there is a secondary event for individuals who may not feel that dressing up is what they like to do. So we're also organizing what we call an old-fashioned fun day, which will be in tangent with this, with the focus on Fort Meade and the different decades that Fort Meade has been around. And that's also being a discussion being had, but not by this actual steering committee. That's another activity outside of that. And we were looking to, without speaking on behalf of the Historical Society, but to partner with the Historical Society and allow them to help lead the charge with that part of the celebration. And then we will have this evening style, whether it's cocktail or semi-formal wear, event gala, to give it the significance that being the oldest city in Polk County should have. And so with that, I thank you for that charge. I felt the same way, but because I'm a part of planning, I wouldn't want to just insert certain things. I want it to be a group effort, and that's why I wanted to hear. If you had a different number, let's hear it, and hopefully we can get a motion to move forward.
starting point,
Yeah, that's a starting point.
25,000.
No, sir. So those two different options could range from the 40 to 50,000 range, and that all depends on really the date. So the dates could alter it that much.
If you remove it, it's 50,000.
Correct.
Have you looked at this in the budget?
Go ahead. I'll let you speak to it.
Yeah, so this item would occur after the adoption of the fiscal year 26 budget. On the budget planning side, I mean, we have it, looking at, fully looked at it, yeah, but when we look at it with the base budget from this year's budget. I think there are activities that you have engaged in this year, if we're just looking at this year's budget, that you could compensate for if you felt the need to not have a new expenditure.
I'm not sure that if we will roll money forward from this fiscal to there, or,
I mean, we still, Commissioner Watts, we still have a lot of fiscal year to get through. And we have several budget amendments that we need to make. So
that's what I know.
I wouldn't count on being able to roll dollars forward. I would focus on programming new dollars for this purpose.
Just try to get the whole background.
Absolutely.
What say you, Commissioner Watts?
I got things. I passed it. The Commissioner's profession. You go with it.
She made a recommendation.
I made a recommendation.
I didn't catch it. Sorry.
Yeah, my recommendation was the $25,000.
Sounds like a good start, boy. I'll go with that.
I'll entertain a motion.
Of course, we're saying that, we can come up with.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve $25,000 to be allocated for the 175th anniversary of the city of Fort Meade what's the name of your committee?
Celebration.
Okay, celebration for the 2026 fiscal year.
175th year celebration.
That's not what I said.
No, I said celebration. You said it in the front, but to say it all together, I guess.
Okay. All right, I'll amend the motion to say, Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve $25,000 for the 175th anniversary celebration of the city of Fort Meade for fiscal year 2026.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I really think that's a little high. Now, a second.
We have a motion and a proper second to, as stated by Commissioner McCutcheon. If no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I think I may have missed something, I'm sorry, did you?
Yes, I did second it to get to the voter. And as I thought about it, I just thought, let's just start.
So you're saying that you were unclear on what you were voting for?
I knew what the motion was. Is this not the proper new route?
So it does pose some legal challenges. So if there's a motion on the floor and then there's a second for it, the motion passes. But then you're saying that you are not in agreement with the motion. But then you said you also thought it was
A little high.
just for discussion. So I just need to be clear for clarity. Did you need to vote on the motion that was presented by Commissioner McCutcheon?
Yes, ma'am, I'd like to change my vote.
We could resubmit, but before we do that, let's enter back into discussion.
Okay.
Okay? So, if it's proper, I'm sorry, I need guidance on this, I don't know, because at what just took place, 3 present, 2 in support, 1 opposed, does that carry or no? Or do the 3 of us have to all, being the numbers here, do the 3 of us all have to be in agreement?
So I think that I may be confused, so I'm a little bit sorry. I just need to talk it through, and I'm transparent enough to say that. So let me just flesh it out for myself.
Well, he just touched on a big point. There is a definition between, the 2 parties out, what's making a quorum. According to the 5 is 3.
Correct.
So it have to be a yes vote.
Yeah, according to Robert's rules, I do believe that you need a majority of the body
Yes.
to agree to move that, and so
So I made it, is that a vote?
so it did not carry.
So let me say this, that is correct, but to my knowledge, this board never adopted Robert's rules officially. So that doesn't necessarily legally govern this meeting. I apologize for having to say that, but let me put that on the record. So now we're gonna go back to make sure that I understand this, and you can certainly move forward, but I need to clarify. I thought that there was a motion on the floor, and I thought that there was a proper second to it, and everyone was in agreement with that, until you stated that you were not in agreement with the second that you made. So you effectively changed what you voted for. So my question goes back to this. Did you intend to cast your second for the motion that Commissioner McCutcheon made? Or is it your understanding now that you were not casting a second, or you were making a motion for a second on what you thought it was? Were you confused on what it was?
Well, I got my second. As it eased into the vote period, I had second thoughts. I knew Robert's rules were about the 2 vote. the contingency of the whole body. But you also knew we had not adopted it. Or, the past legal council recommended we didn't adopt Robert's rules, so you wouldn't tie yourself in the water. But even so, we can go back, open up, go back up, and do it, or we can pass, we do pass on the three majority of the vote tonight.
Based on that, I'm going to say at this time, I believe that the motion passed.
Okay. Okay. Report of the city manager. I'm sorry, yeah, so that was all that I had from the report of the mayor. Report of the city manager.
Thank you, Attorney Smith. Thank you. I just wanted to touch on a couple of reports that'll be coming back to the commission in the coming month, next month. It's the Lien Amnesty Program. It'll be the closeout of the program. I know that staff intended to try to get that report before you this month, and unfortunately, there were some nuances that we needed to go through to verify some of the other, I would say, how some of the other cases were handled. We also found some cases that needed to be resolved as well. And so staff is working to follow up on those items to make sure that you have an accurate report. So expect that next month. The other item that I wanted to thank the two of you specifically for coming out to the museum to tour the train and talk about its historic designation and some of that history. That item and the discussion about the insurance, that should also be coming back to you in June as well. And then another item I want the community to be looking forward to, working with Polk County on the Rec to Go program to try to bring some recreation back to Fort Meade, and understanding that we don't have an active rec center and we want to make sure that we have some additional programming. So I want to thank Derek Hart at the county for bringing those two. Expect some public announcements through the social media feed for June and July dates for some summer fun. And then lastly, I just wanted to touch on the project that came before you tonight. Great project team. They've been all gas, I would say no breaks since we've met them. And so, you have a real opportunity to change Fort Meade's fortunes for the future. As I mentioned, they mentioned some $130 million annually, not including the potential energy generation. But I want you all to know that there's another project lingering out there, and we would love to get both. Your staff is working diligently to try to capture both of those very similar type projects. And we think that it'll take a little bit of collaboration between the two project teams in order to get there. And so we'll be putting some things on the table from the staff side to try to bring that to fruition. I think that anytime you can add $200 million annually across these types of projects to your coffers, while also not really encumbering a lot of city resources and services, that would be a huge win, and it would help for me to take the leap forward as a small city. So I just wanted to put that out on the record, and thank you all for the evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also would like to thank you for your leadership with those projects. And so that was one of the focuses in which made you rise above other options, was your background in economic development. And so we thank you for your leadership in that area. Report of the city attorney.
Yeah, I do have one update. On the Clanton case, it was sold at tax deed auction. And I believe there's upwards of $30-something thousand that the clerk has. And the clerk went through the Fort Meade and made sure that we have all of our hard costs and things of that nature that we were asking for that. That's in excess of $20,000. We do have the tax deed surplus claim form that will be getting filled out and getting sent back in. So that should be coming back to us soon. I would say that there are 120 days that has to elapse for the time frame. It's the deadline for you to bring your claim forth if you have some type of claim of lien. So it might not be right away because they usually have to wait out that time frame, and that's from the date the notice is sent out, and they usually send all these notices out at the same time. And the owner would have 1 year, but we would be in first priority above the owner to submit that claim, so I don't anticipate that we will be able to get all that back.
Thank you for that. Future agenda items for commissioners, if any. And if you have any questions or expressions, do so at this time. Commissioner McCutcheon.
Just wanted to, I don't have a future agenda item, but just wanted to acknowledge that the month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month as well as Military Appreciation Month. Hats off to any of you all who were members of the military, including our very own interim city manager, Mr. Drumgo. I want to say thank you for your service. We appreciate you. If there's anyone else out there, and acknowledge about the Mental Health Awareness Month as well. Of course, at some stage or point or another, I guess we all may have encountered, if not ourselves, but someone we know and love, that benefits from services. So definitely seek out services. We have a plethora of those here in the county. And I wanted to, again, thank Bola for the project. And to piggyback off of that, just say why I feel as a commissioner, I can't speak for anyone else, that is equally important with them coming or potentially coming to the city, the need for housing. I wasn't at the P&Z meeting, but of course you hear things. But I think that's a statement as to why the housing it is a need. It's a necessity for our city. It will add value to all of us. It will add value to the city. It will potentially, and I asked the question of my own children, why didn't you come home after you went to college? Why wouldn't you come back? And the answer was simply, there's nothing in Fort Meade. There's nothing in Fort Meade to do. There's nowhere for us to go. No activities, no parks and no recreation for my kids. There's no housing that's suitable for me and my family. And so I look at it from that perspective, that it adds value. It gives a desire for those who leave, that when they go off and have a prosperous career, to come back home. Because now we have something to look forward to. And I think with the potential of the data center and other things that are coming into our city, it's adding value. I think it will not only reach those who want to live and reside here, but it may also lure those to come back in and to own businesses here in our downtown corridor. Because if we're not growing, we're dying. Simply put, if we're not growing, we're dying. And if the past 20 years we haven't realized that, that's unfortunate. But we want to continue to thrive. We want to continue to live and grow. And so I think that, hey, opening up and allowing individuals to come in would be an asset to this community. And that's all I have. Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Roxanne. Okay. So at this time, our next meeting is set for, in the June meeting, we wouldn't have anything prior to 6 o'clock, really. June 10th. Yes, we do.
Yes, June is going to be pension board.
Okay, so we'll have pension board starting probably 5:30, and our regular commission meeting starting at 6. And if pension goes up over that, it'll start immediately after. On June 10th, 2025. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, the time to speak for public comment was at the very beginning of the meeting. But if you would like to, you can see all of us, immediately after this is over.
Okay,
All right?
appreciate that.
No problem. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, and all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Consider yourselves adjourned. Have a good evening.
Yes, sir.
Everyone, I have these also.
Yes, sir.